everyone, welcome back. It's time for something slightly different on the channel. In two senses, we have a subject here that I haven't covered yet on the channel, a reel-to-reel machine, as you see. And we also have a bit of a different setting, but more on that later. What's the idea here? Well, this is a Philips N4308. Don't pay attention to the 4307 that is here on this cover plate. That's the wrong cover plate. This is from an N4307, so yeah, it's not matching. I have a separate one for an 4308, so not an issue. But this is an N4308 portable Philips reel-to-reel machine from, I think, mid of the 70s. I again forgot to check before I started filming the video. And the idea is to restore this one to perfect working condition and also perfect cosmetical condition. And we're gonna go a bit more into the functionality of this machine later, but as you'll see, it needs quite a bit of work, right? It's quite dirty. It's cosmetically, dirty, but it's still in okay condition. I don't see any nicks, scratches or dents. So now this is gonna be a first for me. Because it's the first reel-to-reel machine that I will do on the channel. Also, it's in fact going to be the first reel-to-reel machine that I work on ever. I haven't worked on a reel-to-reel machine yet in my entire life. So this is going to be more a case of discovery. I mean, that's a bit the idea of this video series. We're gonna restore this machine and we're gonna discover things together, how it works and what it needs in terms of maintenance, because I haven't worked on one yet. So I think it's a nice opportunity to, learn a bit about these machines together on the channel. Even more so, I haven't even owned a reel-to-reel machine in my entire life. And then a couple of weeks ago, I bought a collection of about 45 reel-to-reel machines. Yeah, you heard that right, 45. And the collection ranges for just about everything is in there, from very small portable machines that operate only the small 10 centimeter reels to big studio machines that use the 10-inch reels. So it's a very diverse collection of about 45 machines. So I went basically from owning 0 reel-to-reel machines to 45 in the matter of a single day. And all of them need maintenance. So I don't really have any perfectly functioning machine. Now, when I bought this collection, I also acquired a collection of tapes. And I don't have any means to play them because I don't have a working machine. Now, the idea is not to restore or repair all of these 45 machines. I'm just gonna do the ones that interest me. And the rest I will probably sell off. But we have to start somewhere. And then I went through the collection and I carefully decided which one to start with. I had a couple of requirements. First one, it had to support 7-inch reels because most of the tapes that I acquired are 7-inch. It had to be quite simple or relatively simple because it will be the first machine that I work on. I'm not gonna start working on the most complex machine for my first attempt, right? So it had to be relatively simple. It had to be relatively portable because I want to take the machine to one of my friends who also owns some tapes so that we can just sit together and play some of the tapes. It had to be a 4-track machine because I guess that most of the tapes will be 4-track. There were also a couple of machines in the collection that were only 2-track or half-track as it's called. And you cannot use those to play 4-track tapes. The other way around, that's possible. So it had to be a 4-track machine. What else? It had to support a bit of different speeds because I don't know at what speed these tapes are recorded. I think that were most of my main requirements, and then this machine popped into my eye because it fits most of these requirements. It's quite small for a reel-to-reel machine. It supports the 7-inch tapes, it supports 2 speeds, it's a 4-track machine, it has a built-in amplifier with a speaker, and it's a Philips, and it is complete. It has all the knobs, still not everything, but I have some spare knobs, not to worry. And in the collection that I acquired, I had 4 machines like this. So I have 3 spare ones, which I can use for replacement parts, which is honestly quite convenient. In fact, I have 2 4308s and 2 4307s. So I have a second one here, is just sitting next to the table. It's the second 4308 machine. I'm going to use that one for parts, and this one will be the one that I'm going to restore. Now, what is the difference between the 4307 and the 4308? Like I said, this is a 4308. I'm just going to take off this cover plate because that's just confusing. This is a 4308, and the only, well, it's, let's say 95% the same machine. It's almost an identical machine. The only difference between the 4307 is that the 4307 has only 1 speed, 9.5 centimeters per second, or 3 3/4 of an inch per second. Now, I know this is not very hi-fi. This is generally considered to be a lower quality of speed because it's rather slow. Now, the 4308 has a second speed, which is even slower. It's half of that, so 4.75 centimeters a second, or 1 7/8 inch per second, which is the same speed as a cassette tape. But that is, I guess, really only useful for voice recordings. And the second difference is it has a second input. So the 4307 here has only 3 knobs. It has only 1 input. This one has a second input. So you have 1 input for radio phono, that's basically the auxiliary input, and then 1 input for the microphone, and you can mix those. So you can record music, and then you can talk over that with your microphone, and you can mix the 2 channels together. Now, I don't know how useful this still is today. I also don't know really how useful this slow speed is, but since I had the choice, I chose to restore a 4308. That's the only difference. Right now, so about this setting, why am I sitting here at my living room table and not in my workshop? Well, I haven't spoken about this yet on the channel, but you have to know that my workshop, where I mostly do my work and where I most of the time film my videos, is located about a 45-minute drive away from my home. So I live here in my apartment, but if I have to go to my workshop, I have to drive about 45 minutes one way. So that means that I can realistically only work on my electronics and make my videos during the weekends, because on weekdays I'm at work, and in the evening I don't have the time to drive over. So yeah, I can only work on my electronics during the weekend. So all the videos that you saw on the channel are shot only during the weekends. And even I'm not even able to go every weekend. So sometimes that's why you have a bit of delay between different videos on the channel. It just doesn't always fit to make videos and work on electronics every weekend. Now, the thing is here with this one, the first thing that we need to do with this is disassemble it and very thoroughly clean everything inside, because I will take it apart and you'll notice that all the belts, they have turned into goo. So there is a lot of physical maintenance, mechanical maintenance that needs to be done first before we can even think about starting to work on the electronics. And honestly, to do that, I don't need my workshop. I only need a pair of screwdrivers, maybe some pliers, and some isopropyl alcohol and some old rags to clean up everything, and some Q-tips and whatever. And I can perfectly do that over here. I don't need a big workshop to do that. So I have here covered my living room table with some plastic. sheet, not to make it too dirty. And now I can just work on this while being at home as well. And then the idea is to first get it mechanically restored. And then once that's done, I will take the machine into the workshop, and then we'll have a look at the electronics. See, so just to show you a bit, this is the lid. The lid is in good condition. It's also dirty. It's missing here the trim, but that just fell off. I still have it. All the things on this machine, all these metal trims, they all fell off. The glue hardens over time, and they loosen. But I still have got all of the trims. That's really important. If you pick up one of these machines, make sure that there are no trims missing, because they easily just fall off. And this one, I have it over there somewhere, not a problem. Let me just show you here the parts machine. So this is the second one. It's in a, very similar shape. I had to decide which one of the two I would restore and which one I would use as a parts machine. And this one is, there's not a lot of difference between the two. The only difference is that the lid has one of the latches broken, and I think it's a bit more dirty. I opened both of these up already. I think this one is a bit more dirty on the inside, so that'll take a bit more time to clean things up. There is also a trim missing here on the back, which this one still has. And honestly, I like the wood grain better on that one compared to this one. So those are the only things actually. This one is missing the tape counter. So somebody must have taken it out at some point. So what I did is I took the tape counter out of this machine. I got it over here. And that one is still in perfect condition, so we'll transplant that into here. There is also some things which are wrong here on the tape mechanism, but I do have the spare parts on this one. This one does not have the original head anymore. This one does. So, there are a couple of things that we need to pay attention to and check, but we do have the opportunity to switch out some. I think I have more than enough parts to make one decent machine. That's what I wanted to say. And I still do also have the two 4307s, which are basically identical, so I can also take parts from those if needed. But I'm just going to put this one aside again, because we don't need it at the moment. This lid is really not... This lid is broken, so yeah. See, it doesn't... this one latches, this one does not anymore. And all of the four machines are missing the battery cover. Not the battery cover, there is you cannot operate this on batteries, but the cover to hold in the power cord, which is annoying. So that's the only part I see so far that I don't have. Okay, so let's open this thing up. First, maybe let's look a bit at the functions. These are the trims that came off, and I just taped them here to not lose them. These are the trims for the spools. Yeah. All this glue just dries up and everything just falls out. These are the trims here for the buttons. I believe this is the pause. Yeah, this is the record switch. The other ones, they will probably also fall off at some point while we are working on it. Come on. So these are the normal tape controls. You have the record, rewind, play, fast forward and pause, and this is the stop. Here you have, like I already said, your two inputs, the volume and the tone control. This is the track selector, so you can, if you put it in this position, you have tracks 1 or 4. This is tracks 3 or 2, and this is parallel, so then it basically plays both tracks together. And this is a mono machine, but it has an optional output for a stereo amplifier. So Philips, the amplifier inside is also mono, but Philips sold an optional external amplifier that would turn the machine into stereo. So then you would be able to connect it to a set of stereo speakers. But by default, the machine is mono, so with an option to add stereo. Then here I do have the lever here somewhere. See, that's the speed selector. This is 4.75 centimeters. This is 9.5. I'm gonna take that one off again. I think that's it. Here on the back, see, we have the inputs. I don't know if you can see this clearly, but yeah, so you have a headphone input selector for 4 or 8 ohm speaker. This is your speaker connector, and then you have here the 2 inputs, radio phono and microphone, and this is the connector for the optional stereo amplifier. Let's put this back. Now, opening this thing up is super easy, and I propose that if you ever buy a machine like this and it's considered to be in good condition or sold as in good condition, open it up and have a look at the inside. So what we're going to do is we're going to take off the knobs. Yeah, this one as well, of course, and then here the cover plate for the tape mechanism, which I already took off. We're going to take off the stop switch. And then we're going to just remove these 4 screws. These 2 here are longer than these 2. And then we should be able to, well, there is another thing. This one machine has this missing. See, there is this trim that normally sits here underneath. Wait, where is it? It's like this. I think you need to, yeah, like that. So you also need to loosen that trim normally. So this one missed that. I also took the trim from the other machine. So then you remove the trim. And then you just lift up the cover while pushing down the stop button. I think you can lift it over there first, yeah. Then you push down the stop button and then it just comes out. Well, let me put that over there. And here we have a better look at the carnage. Yeah. Okay, so you'll probably think, wow, that looks like a total mess and disaster. And yeah, you're probably right. But it's actually not that uncommon to find these types of machine in such a condition. And the reason is mainly that almost everything you see here has been greased. So see, this is all old grease here, this entire area. Yeah, then if dust gets in, which it will, then it sticks to everything and it just collects all the dust. And then you can also understand if you see a condition like this, yeah, it won't work right off the box. So don't even try to even attempt to power it up or see if it's working. You can also see that all the belts here are just completely melted. See, they are completely turned into goo. So this needs to all be cleaned off. See, this is the big belt over here. There is a smaller belt here over here, has also turned into goo. And then there are 2 belts in the back as well. One for the counter, which we don't have because the counter here was removed on this machine. And then there is a second one on the motor on the back that also needs to be cleaned up. So this is going to require quite a lot of work to do this. I'm not sure I'm going to be able to film everything because it's really a lot of work. What else do we see here? I've already noticed that there is something wrong here with this mechanism. This is not original, this piece. So there we probably will have to transplant some parts from the other machine. I think someone worked here on this tape feeding mechanism in some way. Not sure what happened here, but this probably will have to come from the other machine. How do we dismantle this further? It's actually quite easy because now we remove these 4 screws. The entire chassis is loose in the cabinet. See, we can just take it out. So the dismantling of this machine is quite easy. So the first thing we'll do is we'll unplug this cable. This is simply a ground wire for this metal shield that sits over here to protect the amplifier. Here is the amplifier from Hum. And this is the metal shield that is normally also was glued in place, but also the glue dried up and it became loose. So I'm just gonna take that out. In the end, we'll have to glue it back. And now I should be able to take out the chassis. Sometimes it can be a bit stuck, and that is because these rubbers, they fuse sometimes or they become hard and they stick to the cabinet. Just remember that the chassis is loose. You don't have to remove the screws from the bottom to get this cabinet out. Just pry a bit if it is stuck. Let's see. It is catching somewhere. I haven't had this one out yet, so it's gonna require a bit of fiddling, and I'm gonna try to not put my hands on the gooey belts in the process. The big problem is that you don't really have any way to hold it here on this side, so okay, I got it. Now we have a couple of wires here. Let me just... Yeah, that's the drawback of using plastic and not a normal table. It just moves everywhere. See, so the bottom part is still in quite okay condition. I'm just gonna snap off here the speaker wires. If I can find my pliers. They are over there. Because we don't need this, need this anymore. The top one is the black one. Okay, the bottom one is the green one, if I can get to that. The speaker is grabbing my snips. Come on. Right, okay. And I've already touched a belt with my fingers. And I'm just gonna pull the power cord through. Oh, this is heavy. Come on. Yeah, I should have untangled it first, but okay. Well, we have the chassis out of the cabinet. And see, these are the standoffs that they use. These normally have a screw on them from the bottom. I noticed that these screws are missing on this one. I do have those screws on the other machine. That's not an issue, but you have screws in the backside of the machine. They simply hold these standoffs in place, and then the chassis bolts into the standoffs. So you don't have to remove the screws from the bottom. Let me just put this out of the way. Rightio. And I think we can safely put it on its side. See, there's absolutely nothing here on this side to damage it. Here we have the amp board, which looks to be fully original. There are the 2 output transistors. These are AD161 and AD162. Those are germanium output transistors. I assume that there will be something wrong in the amplifier, because why would you otherwise remove the tape counter? There must be something very wrong with this machine, since it has been used for parts in the past. Yeah, so see, here we got the bottom part of the machine. That one is obviously much less dirty because there is no dirt fell on top of it. We have the big flywheel over here. Here we also have some remnants of a rubber belt. Here is the amp board with all the capacitors that we need to replace at some point in the future. The transformer, the motor. This is just all the output connectors. And that's about it. You see, it's not super complicated, but it will require quite a bit of work. See, all this grease is all dried up, and everything here needs to be cleaned and re-greased, and yeah. So the first thing I'll do is I'm gonna clean up the mess from the belts, the black goo everywhere. The reason is that this is by far the most frustrating part of the job, and it gets really everywhere. So as long as you don't clean that up, it'll get all over your fingers while you're working on something else. It's really annoying, and it's gonna take a lot of time. If you've ever cleaned up this goo, you know how difficult it is to get rid of it. As you see, I'm also gonna wear gloves for this because, well, depending on the type of rubber, this can be toxic. So I would say take your precautions if you're cleaning up something like this. Some people, I've heard or I've read online that some people can get skin irritation if they get this on their hands. So I haven't had any issues with it, but hey, why would I? I have these gloves here. They are a bit too small, but hey, it'll work, I guess. It is going to take quite a while. Oh, first, before we start, I just want to show you something else. So these wheels here, they have clutches underneath. Let me take this one off. This one doesn't have the original screw. That's the original screw. This one has another screw has been driven into that, and that is cracked here. So we're probably also going to salvage one of these wheels from the other tape recorder, reel-to-reel machine. So you can take these off, and you see here you have a felt pad underneath that just needs to be cleaned. And here there is a clutch inside. I don't know at first sight who to take it off. I'll have to check. But there are also some rubbers in there. You can see them coming out over here. Most of the time, or in a lot of models, these are also gone. They are made from the same type of black rubber as the belts, and they are also deteriorated. Now, in my case here, I have the luck that they are made out of a different material and they are still perfectly fine. I do have a belt kit which did come with these replacement rubbers, but I'm not gonna have to use them. So I will save these for another model that I will maybe do in the future. For the rest, the belt kit comes with 4 small rubbers, three small belts and 1 big one. So that's the one that needs to go here. So I do have a belt kit available to me. It's just first a matter of doing a little bit of cleaning. See here the same thing. There is also a clutch mechanism inside. So if you hold this, then you can see that this will still turn, right? Because of the clutch that is inside. Okay, let's get cracking and let's stop trying to delay the actual work. Well, so I managed to clean off most of the rubber residue, so made quite a bit of progress here. A couple of remarks: there is still some goo left underneath the pulleys because I haven't taken anything apart yet. See, this one is still rubbing quite stiff. Could also be due to some rubber residue still left on the bottom side. I've only worked on the top side for now. There is also some gunk here underneath these sliding mechanisms. See, if you pull them apart, then you can still see the gunk here spreading out. And if I clean it up, then yeah, it just comes back. So there is still some goo underneath. So everything here needs to come off, probably, so that I can clean this on the bottom side. These brushes were also quite difficult. I haven't managed to clean them perfectly yet. Quite a bit of work. There's also goo that just keeps coming out. The problem is also that the brushes do lose quite a lot of bristles when you're cleaning them. So that's a bit unfortunate, but they have to be cleaned. Because you see, you still have pieces of gunk here in there, pieces of old rubber. But yeah, see, again, some hairs of the brush came off. But okay, these brushes are not super critical. The reel-to-reel machine will probably work perfectly fine without these, so I'm just gonna prioritize cleaning them, and if they lose some bristles, yeah, so be it. You can also see that the rubber has etched away the metal here, and there is still in some places here, there is a very thick coating still left. It's almost like it's glue or something. That's how hard this rubber became. So yeah, very nasty stuff. Unfortunately, I am a bit stuck because, well, this is the the result. I'm not gonna touch it. These are my gloves. Oh yeah, see, I'm also here making marks on my. Yeah, just have to be careful that I don't put anything on that. Anyway, do wear gloves. I mean, the stuff gets everywhere, and I ran out of Q-tips, so I can't really continue. Wow, this is really getting everywhere. See, I don't know where I put my hand now, but my hand is now. And I'm here right at the edge of this plastic, so okay, I need to be careful. I don't know where did I put my hand that I now have. That's the thing with this black goo. It gets everywhere, and after a while, everything is covered in this filth, and you don't know where it comes from. You put your hand accidentally against something, then you rub it on something else, and it just keeps spreading and spreading. Really, wear gloves because. But I'm filming for like 10 seconds or so, and I've already got goo on my hand. So yeah, not great. So unfortunately, I'm a bit stuck with cleaning now. And maybe I'll start looking a bit at the service manual to see how I can take this apart further, because I do have to take it apart because I have to reach the underside. So yeah, I think that's the next step. Okay, I think you can see clearly that I made quite a bit of progress here. I spent a couple of hours of cleaning, and I cleaned just about everything which I could reach easily without dismantling anything. And it's looking a lot better now. All the dirt here is gone on the top plate. I haven't done anything on the bottom yet, but the bottom is not that bad as the top. And now actually the mechanism is starting to work. See, the rewind is relatively snappy. The fast forward as well could still be better. The play function, yeah, see, that is still quite slow to go back to its original position. So now we have to start disassembling because, well, the main problem is that obviously underneath we still have goo and dirt from the old belts. First thing I'm gonna do is remove these 5 wheels or pulleys, however you want to call them. That shouldn't be too difficult because I noticed they are all simply held in via a C-clip on the backside. Except this one, this is held in with a grub screw. On the backside there is also a pulley connected to that shaft, just like this one, but it has a grub screw to hold it in place. So yeah, that's not going to be an issue. So that's the first thing. And they really need to be cleaned out because there is underneath, as I said, still gunk. See, this one is totally stuck still even. This one is spinning freely. That one is spinning freely. This one is not really spinning freely. This one shouldn't spin, that's just a fixed position. It only has the clutch, which should spin, but the outer wheel itself should not. Yeah, so let's see if we can remove these. The most difficult one will probably be this one, because the C-clip is blocked by the motor. All the other ones, they are relatively easily accessible. Just have to make sure, because there is still a lot of belt goo here everywhere on the bottom, that I don't mess things up too much with all this goo everywhere. This one is probably gonna fly all across the room, and I remove the C-clip. Oh no, that came off relatively easily. So this one should now come off. Or not. Oh yes, it does. Okay. See, and there we have those rubbers. These are still okay in my case. I will just clean them up. They are slightly dirty, but they are still okay. If these are black from the same type of material as the belt rubbers, then they will also be goo, and you will have to clean this out on the inside as well. But see, here we have still a large piece of old belt which I couldn't reach, and dirt. Okay, this one, that one was a bit more difficult. This one had, in this order, first this weird type of C-clip, which is annoying to take off. Then there was a pulley. Then there was another C-clip. And then there was a washer. All on the underside of this shaft. These are all covered in grease, which is normal, I guess. See, now I can pull this shaft off. Now this one should also come out. Yeah. Oh, this one is also well greased on the underside. And see, this one has a pin, a locating pin here that holds it in place. So that's the left spindle. And again, it has a clutch mechanism on the inside, which is also still fine. Okay, the next one is also loose. That's this guy. That one didn't have a C-clip, but just a plastic ring which snaps in place, and then a very flimsy plastic washer. And you see, it's also still got a lot of belt residue here on the bottom here as well. So I'm gonna put that one aside. Okay, now this one. Same thing, it also has a, yeah, you can see it over there. It also has a plastic ring to snap it in place. And these can be annoying to get out as well. Sometimes they come off very easily, but here in this case they are greased in. They are well greased, so they are very slippery. Okay, this one comes off rather easily. See, those are these very tiny, well, they are like washers, but they are used as a C-clip basically to help keep everything in place. And here we have the washer. Let's put that aside as well. Okay. Now this one should come off. I guess this one will be very dirty on the underside. Yeah, see. Yeah. It's not remarkable that this doesn't work anymore, or that it doesn't spin freely. And that one, the last one, that is a grub screw. See, so it's over there. Also some rubber belt residue. And that is what it's doing. It's very interesting. This is the speed selector. See? And what this selector does is, normally there should be a belt here from this pulley to the flywheel, I think, yeah, like this. And if you turn this lever, then the belt is switched to a smaller pulley here. So this piece here, that just takes the belt and moves it to a different groove to change the speed. So that is an interesting way of doing it. Well, a very basic way of doing it. And yeah, okay, the grub screw, it loosens quite easily. And whoa, that's a big C-clip. Let's put this aside as well, because that also needs to be cleaned up. But I don't think we don't need to loosen that at the moment. I can just take out this mechanism or this part of the this wheel here on this side. Okay. And I think I can go back to cleaning for now. I'm just gonna clean up the places now that I made accessible, and then we'll see what we need. And also clean the parts that I got out, so those wheels over there. And then we'll see what is next to disassemble. Well, yeah, so I sunk another 2 hours into cleaning here. Everything, all the things I took off, all the wheels and everything, they have all been cleaned. See, so these are done. This one is done. These guys are done. All the, well, here as well, the areas that now became accessible have also been cleaned. I cleaned here the blades of the motor. Well, yeah, the fan. And this pulley was also cleaned. I think next step is starting to disassemble this assembly, because yeah, we do need to get underneath here. See, it's still sticky. I think I'm gonna do that in the next video, but just to give you a small taste, I think we need to start here with removing this C-clip. And it's also sticky. That's normal, that's because of the grease. There's a lot of grease underneath this sliding mechanism. And then I think this should simply lift out. Yeah. Wait. How does that work? Not like that. Yeah, see, that just lifts out. See, and there you can already see some part of the old grease. So this one, that is the first one that I need to take out. Then I guess this lever will come off, or can come off. And I think they are one by one because they are layered on top of each other. Anyway, everything here needs to come off. So I'm gonna get working on this, and I think this video is already long enough. So for the next video, we'll have a look at this section, or we'll start with this section. So yeah. Well, if you're still here with me and have not yet fallen asleep, thanks for watching, because it's maybe not as exciting as working on the electronics, but it has to be done, and it's quite a lot of work. So I cannot just skip forward and say, okay, everything has been cleaned, because it's more than just cleaning. Everything here needs to be disassembled and taken apart. And anyway, I know what to do. I have a lot of work here, so hope I'll see you in the next video. Take care. Bye-bye.